Hello, I'm Dr. Manuel G. Saldivar. I'm a cognitive psychologist and a university faculty member. On this channel, I focus on ideas and concepts that will help you become more successful as a college student. Please join me for today's episode. An important thing that students need to realize when they begin college is that the free time you may see on your schedule is not really free. In high school, students typically spend 6, 7, 8 hours at their high school campus. Maybe not in class that entire time. You may have PE. You may be involved in extracurricular activities like sports, debate, band, choir, cheerleading, other kinds of activities. But typically, when you're in high school, you arrive in the morning and you have scheduled activities, whether it's class or other things, happening back to back during the day. And then at the end of the day, when you're done, you leave. College doesn't necessarily work that way. In fact, it typically doesn't. Usually, when you see your schedule for your college classes, you may have a couple classes in the morning, a couple days a week, and then a couple of other classes in the afternoon or middle part of the day, other days of the week. Some of these classes may have labs associated with them, which maybe meet at a different time from the lecture part of the class. But generally, you may see a schedule that seems to have a lot of open space. For this reason, many students assume incorrectly one of two things. Either, I only have class a few hours per week, so that's the only time I really have to worry about studying or doing anything school-related. That's a mistake. There's also an assumption that the times that you have scheduled are the only times you need to be on campus. And that's also a mistake. Let me explain. This chart shows the amount of time students typically spend learning in a certain part of their educational careers, from high school through college and grad school, if you go to grad school, as well as your professional life. You can see the curved orange line divides the graph. The top part shows the amount of time that you're expected to spend learning independently, learning on your own. The bottom part of the graph underneath the orange line shows the amount of time that you're expected to spend in class. As you can see, when you are in high school, pretty close to 100% of your time learning is happening in class. But once you get to college, the expectation is that you'll spend almost as much time, if not more, outside of class learning as you would inside of class. This outside of class learning can come in different forms. Part of it will be readings and video lectures that might be assigned to you by professors. Part of it might be working on your own on research projects or group projects. And some of the learning you do on your own time might also actually be work-related. And I'll discuss that a little later on in this episode. But the thing you want to take away is that just because you may only have to be in class a few hours per day or per week as a college student, that doesn't mean that you have an unlimited amount of time to work or to do other things. Again, you're expected to be reading, be preparing for projects and research assignments and other things when you're not in class. So even if you are not sitting in class, you are still expected to do college student stuff for several more hours per week beyond the amount of time that you are in class. Now, there are a number of students who choose to work or sometimes have to work just for economic reasons while you're in college, and there's nothing wrong with that. Certainly, whether you're working because you choose to, because you want to save some money for your own purposes, or in some cases, there are students who have to work because they need to help support their families economically. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to be aware that college professors, perhaps naturally enough, are usually of the attitude that your education is important and that should be your priority. That doesn't mean you can't do other things in life, but the first thing, the most important thing you should be worrying about is your schooling. For this reason, don't assume that professors will excuse any work-related absences or any schoolwork, coursework you turn in late because of work obligations. Now, I'm not saying that no professor will give you some consideration. For example, I understand, as I've said, that many students have economic reasons why they have to work. They're not doing it just for their own amusement because they're saving up for a car or to pay for a spring break trip. Many students, at least at my university, work because their families need them to work. Their families need them to contribute to the family income. Nonetheless, if you're choosing to be a college student, if you are undertaking the obligation of being a college student, then that is going to be a serious part of your life, and you want to avoid putting yourself in situations where you have to have conflict between school and work. These two things can be balanced. It takes effort and planning. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is something that can be done, and I have had many students, and there's a lot of research showing that there are many students across the country that are able to find this balance. You just need to work out what it takes for you to be able to balance any work obligations you have along with your college studies. An important thing you have to consider is you don't want to be in such a hurry to graduate that you hurt yourself academically. This is an issue that I've seen over and over again, and again, a lot of research. So it's not just my opinion. There's a lot of research that shows that this is an issue that a lot of college students face. Naturally enough, when you get to college, you want to complete your college studies as quickly as possible, get started with your career, go on about your life. That's perfectly understandable. But unfortunately, sometimes students are in such a hurry to graduate, to finish their college studies, that they rush through their schoolwork. And especially if you also are working a significant number of hours outside of the schoolwork you're doing, sometimes you end up having the worst of both worlds. You're not very strong as a student because you're distracted by work, but you're also not able to do very good work because you're distracted by your college studies. There's not an easy solution to this. Again, every individual has to work out their own path and their own best way of handling this kind of stress and these competing obligations. But I would suggest that one of the best things you can do for yourself is, if you have to work, if there's a number of hours that you just have to work in order to fulfill your economic commitments, then that would suggest that the best thing you can do is cut back on your schoolwork. This may mean that you will need more time, additional semesters, in order to be able to graduate from college, and I understand that can be a frustration. Nonetheless, you don't want to be in a situation where you've spent a lot of time and effort and made a lot of sacrifices in order to get your college education, only to find that your grades at the end of it are not very good, and thus you're not very competitive for the kinds of jobs you wanted to get that drove you to go to college in the first place. Sorry for the interruption, but if you're enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon for notifications. Let me share some statistics. There was a survey conducted several years ago of more than 2,000 college graduates at different points in their career. This was done by a website called Career Builder. One out of two individuals, college graduates who responded to this survey, they agreed with the statement, "My first job after college was not related to my major." The people who conducted the survey also spoke to other college graduates who had been in the workforce, who had graduated from college at least 10 years, if not more, as of the time of the survey. So the people that answered this next question had been working, had graduated from college and had been working for 10 plus years. One out of three of those individuals agreed with the statement, "I've never found a job related to my major." So what's happening here? Why am I sharing this information? A lot of times, and I understand why this is, a lot of times students feel that the worst outcome, the most horrible thing that could happen to them is flunking out of college. I actually disagree with this. I think the worst outcome a college student can have is graduating from college, but having such poor grades compared to other students in their major that they're never able to work in their field. So you have a college degree that you've spent a lot of time and sweat and blood and tears in order to get, but then you're not able to work as an engineer or a nurse or a computer scientist or whatever your major was, because compared to others in the same major, your grades were just not that good. You may not have had an opportunity or taken the opportunity to get work experience that would make you competitive for jobs in your particular field. And so you have a college degree and perhaps, sadly, also debt that goes along with it, but then you can't get a job in the field you wanted to work in. So what do? You've got to find a job in some other field. I would suggest to you that these students, these college graduates that answered the survey that have never had a job in their field, they're not bad people. They didn't, not care about their studies, but I suspect they probably got overextended, and they came out of college with grades that weren't that great, and not having had the kind of experiences that other students had that were able to allow them to be successful, to pursue careers in their fields. Now, if you do have to work, do be aware that there will be opportunities you will have as a college student to work in jobs, in positions that are related to your field, that will give you experience to make you a competitive candidate when it does come time to graduate and look for permanent jobs, but also will help you earn an income. Certainly, there are things you have to do as a college student that cost you money. Taking your classes, buying books, buying supplies, cost you money. There's no getting away from that. But as a college student, you also are going to have opportunities to learn new skills, and you can find opportunities to get experiences that will not just help you become a more attractive candidate when you start looking for jobs, but also help you pay some of your bills. Many universities and colleges make an effort to employ their students on campus. A college or university of any size is a big, complex organization. Never mind the teaching that's happening or the research that's happening on a college or university campus. But like any big organization, like any big business, if you will, colleges and universities need people to do IT support, to do clerical work, to answer phones, to work as receptionist, to shelve books in the library. These are just a few examples of jobs that need to be done on a university campus, just like any other big organization. So many college and universities will make an effort to try and hire as many of their own students as they can. These positions are not necessarily going to be super high paying, but they're often at least comparable to working in retail or working in food service. In some cases, you might qualify for work study positions. These are related to receiving a financial aid award, where you as a student will get a paycheck of a certain a certain amount of dollars per hour. So from your side, you're getting paid an hourly wage to do certain jobs, certain work on campus. But the federal government is reimbursing the university for part of your salary. So that makes it easier to get these positions, relatively speaking, and it makes you more attractive as a staff member. So there are opportunities you're going to have on campus. If you have any questions about on-campus employment opportunities, I'd encourage you to speak to your college's, your university's financial aid office or an academic advisor. They can usually give you good guidance. There's also career preparation jobs, employment opportunities that you could well qualify for as a college student. And for this kind of information, you can turn to your college's career center. In some cases, you may have to start with an academic advisor, but if you ask around about a career center or career services at your college university, they should be able to direct you to the right place to go. Just two examples of kinds of jobs that are, especially for college students, for individuals who are still going through their education, are internships and co-ops. An internship is typically a position you have for a certain amount of time. Often they're over the summer, so they're intended to be done while you're not in school, in between semesters. In some cases, they can be a little longer or even take place during a school year. But regardless, the idea is that an employer will hire you for a certain period of time, let's say 3 months during the summer or 3 months during a fall or spring semester. And the internship is an opportunity for you to get experience working in your field. So if you want to be a computer scientist, if you want to work in business, if you want to work in a technical field, whatever it may be, there are internships that are available for all kinds of career paths. And again, your career center or career services office at your university or college can give you more guidance. You can also search the web for information about internships. Co-ops are also another employment opportunity that students in college may have. A co-op is a little different from an internship. It's usually a longer commitment of time, and the idea is that you will alternate between going to school full-time for a semester or summer and then working full-time for the employer. Co-ops historically have been very common in technical fields like engineering or natural science, like chemistry or physics, but they are sometimes available in other but they are sometimes available in other fields as well. But again, the point with internships, co-ops, is that you as a college student have opportunities available to you to earn money if that's an important part of helping you be able to continue in college and to live your life. You'll have the opportunities to earn money, whether it's on campus or off campus, that are there because you are a college student. So don't feel that if you need to earn an income in order to support yourself or help support your family economically, that the only option you have is to continue working, let's say, in retail or food service or some other perhaps part-time job that you might have had while you were in high school. There are other opportunities that you may have just because you are a college student. And again, your university or college, the Career Center, the Advising Center can help you learn about some of these opportunities. So to review, in today's episode, we discussed the topic of balancing work and college. We talked about the concept that free time as a college student is not really free for the reasons that I explained. Be careful about expecting any special consideration from professors because you work. I'm not saying professors will never give you a break if you need it, but you want to be careful about assuming that just because you have a job that will somehow influence professors in terms of extending deadlines or excusing absences. Be careful about rushing to graduate because oftentimes if you are competing between going to school and working, and you're trying to do everything in a hurry, you may end up not doing either of those things well, and that can be bad news for you in terms of your long-term career prospects. And then finally, we discuss other career opportunities that are available if you do need to earn income. Opportunities like on-campus work or internships and co-ops that can help you earn money but still be directly tied to your learning as a student and to your preparation for your future career. I hope you found this information helpful. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll click on the thumbs up icon below. And if you really enjoyed it, please subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications by clicking on the bell icon. YouTube will notify you of future videos added to this channel. Remember, college success is challenging, it takes work and effort, but it is certainly within your grasp. Good luck.